Something I wanted to share. I do a lot of life coaching. During the day, I'm on the phone a lot talking to women, coaching or counseling. And as a coach, a counselor, a faith builder, the self-esteem doctor, I hear a lot of painful stories. And there is a common story that I keep hearing about women being raped in their childhood by family members. Raped by family members. And here these women are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and they haven't had the tools or the support to overcome the traumatization. And when a woman has been traumatized like that and she doesn't have the tools to get back up again, and sometimes she wakes up in the middle of her life and realizes she hasn't dealt with the trauma and it interferes with her relationships. She finds herself addicted. She finds herself leaning towards perfectionism. And that's what I want to talk about, that I find that a lot of women that are very extreme in their perfectionism, it's because they're trying to compensate for the trauma that they had. They lost control as a child by somebody violating their body and stealing their innocence. Because they had to check out, not be present while it was happening, just pretend that it's not happening to them. They learn a coping skill of just being absent and not being present and being passive because they've lost control as a child, as the offender violates their body. And what happens if they never heal, if they never can talk to anyone about it, if it remains a secret, if there's shame, these women never really learn how to find their voice. What they do is they throw themselves into extreme activity, being very excessive, being very obsessive, being very extreme, seeking perfection, seeking control over their lives because they lost control as a child. And so the trauma is playing out now as they are an adult. And so I just wanted to speak to that because what I'm finding in my work, in my ministry, that so often this type of issue is not addressed in the church. Sometimes women can't talk about it with their family members. They can't talk about it with their friends. They certainly don't feel comfortable talking to their husband or their boyfriend. There's so much shame attached that they act out or they withdraw and become very isolated. It just breaks my heart when I'm counseling with women that have been raped as a child. They lose trust. They learn not to feel. They learn not to deal. They learn not to be present, and they check out emotionally. And it's amazing how I can read some women and I can see when they've checked and they've left the building. They are still present physically, but they are absent. They've learned to go somewhere else in their mind, which leads to being bipolar, which leads to addiction, which leads to depression. And so these are some of the things that I address when I'm working with women, helping them to really heal and to feel and to deal and to trust again. And it's very hard to trust when your trust and your innocence has been stolen as a child from rape or molestation. It saddens my heart when I hear women say that they couldn't talk to their mother. I've had to help them to understand that perhaps their mother was violated or their mother just didn't have the tools to deal with it. And so now you've got double denial. Mother's denying it, and then you have to deny it. And then you deny it by pushing it down and not dealing with it until it pops up in your life later. It's like, you know how when you're on a computer and those pop-ups come, those advertisements come up and they're a pop-up? Well, that's what happens when I'm dealing with these women. I'm finding that they have these pop-ups in their life, in the middle of a relationship, in the middle of marriage, in the middle of parenting, in the middle of their ministry, in the middle of starting a business. All of a sudden, these pop-ups come up and they realize they never had an opportunity to heal and to deal and to feel. And what I'm finding is that when I'm working with women, they don't want to feel, they don't know how to feel. It just saddens me when I hear women say, I don't even know what it feels like to have joy. I don't even know what it feels like to trust. I don't even know what it feels like to feel safe. And that's real. Their struggle is real, and God is real too. And so if there's anyone that is listening and you know of someone that needs some support, needs a safe place to land, to discuss this, to work through it, please give them my information. This is part of what I do. It is an assignment that I've accepted. And I'm very honored when a woman feels safe enough to trust me, to work through this, to begin to trust again, to love again, to open up that box, open up their heart. When you have to open up your heart and share, you don't want to feel the shame all over again. You want to feel loved. You want to feel safe. And what I'm finding is that either women are shutting down and not feeling anything at all, or they're acting out because they didn't know how to deal with the shame of rape, the shame of abuse. And I love being able to work with women to help them work through the trauma. It's not an easy thing to talk about. It's awkward talking about it. It's uneasy. And the enemy wants to keep you locked down. But I'm here to tell someone that is listening today that there is freedom, there is liberty, there is restoration, there is resilience available for you. You are not alone. Do not feel that you are the only one. Do not feel that you are dirty or damaged or that you deserved it. That is a lie from the pit of hell. The adversary knows how to get women to feel that they are dirty, unworthy, and damaged. And they drop their crown, and they don't realize they're a jewel in God's crown. I'm going to be speaking about being a jewel in God's crown in 2 upcoming speaking engagements I have for 2 churches in the LA area. But I really wanted to speak on this topic because I've had to accept the assignment. I didn't ask for it. I didn't know that God would send me so many women that have been carrying around the secret, carrying around the shame, burdened with secrets, burdened and being called a sinner, when in fact they are victims of a horrible crime called rape or abuse. And so as the self-esteem doctor, I love being of support to women, to help them to walk through it, to get through it, to grow through it, to heal through it. Because when women do not have the opportunity to forgive themselves, to forgive their mothers or their fathers, or whatever relatives made them feel unprotected, or did not discuss it with them, did not allow them to share, because maybe they were not equipped. Maybe they too were victims, and it's time to break some generational cycles. A lot of times children that have been victims of rape and abuse, their mother or their father were also victims. It's a horrible crime. It's a trauma that no child should have to endure, let alone an adult. But what I'm finding is that I have a lot of women coming to me that are adult women that never addressed the trauma of being raped as a child. And the sad thing about it is that so many of them are telling me it's by a family member. So can you imagine the level of distrust, the level of shame, the level of secrecy and isolation that these women have had to experience because they didn't have the opportunity to have a safe place to work it through, to cry, to share, to tell their story, to break the stronghold, to be able to turn their pain into a purpose, because that pain can be transmuted. We can work through it and talk to the little girl in that woman so that she can heal from the pain, because if she does not heal from the pain, she will transfer the pain onto others. And if she doesn't transfer the pain onto others, what happens is that she begins to hurt herself. Cutting, self-sabotaging, isolating, being addicted negative, self-destructive talk, disconnecting from good friends. And so it is so important. I didn't even know I was going to talk about this today. I really had no idea. But you know what? When the Holy Spirit puts something on me, I believe in obedience. And I've just been getting too many emails, too many calls. I was recently on the radio on KGLH, and I recently did a teleconference, and this issue came up. It comes up a lot when I am counseling women all across the nation. I'm counseling women. I have women in Japan, London, that I'm counseling. I have women in about, I'd say about 10 of the United States that I'm counseling or coaching. And counseling is dealing with your past, and coaching, I'm helping you deal with your future. If we are going to do some counseling, we're going to talk about those past issues causing you stress and pain and sorrow and shame. But coaching, when I put on my coaching hat, now we're talking about developing steps for your future, your destiny, your purpose. So I'm not sure which hat you need from Jewel Diamond Taylor, the self-esteem doctor, but I'm here to serve you, and I will make room for you on my calendar if that's something that you'd like to do. Know that if you have a question, you can directly email me. My emails are kept private. I personally answer my emails. If you have a question about this topic, feel free to email me. It will be treated with dignity and trust and compassion. My email address is jewelmotivates@gmail.com. Jewel with one L, motivates@gmail.com. Now, the retreats that I have coming up, my Women on the Growth sessions that I have, we deal with a lot of topics about emotional wellness. So please share this video message with your online social media circle, because you are a leader, and many of you are like me. You are wounded healers, and wounded healers are a blessing to God. Wounded healers tell their testimony. Wounded healers can be a blessing to someone who feels alone and isolated. Wounded healers are leaders. And so we can minister to one another so that we don't feel alone. I encourage you to stay connected with me, to visit my website, jeweldiamondtaylor.com, or if it's easier to remember, I'm at donotgiveup.net. They both lead to the same website. But I would love to be in contact with you. I would love to know how I can be a blessing and of service to you. Know that I bring over 30 years of service and experience to the table. Know that there's not a story I haven't heard, that I'm never alarmed. I'm never judging. I just open up my heart and open up my toolbox to share with other women how to be resilient, how to trust the Lord, how to find their purpose, how to bounce back after being traumatized from rape or divorce or illness or breast cancer or losing your child, as I've lost my child. We all have different experiences of being traumatized, and we can all open up this toolbox and learn from each other. We can all share our faith with one another. We can all share our story with one another. That is my purpose. Turning our pain into power. And when you turn your pain into power, a book can be birthed from you. You know, I wrote the book, I Am Resilient, before my son even passed from cancer. See, God was already ordering my steps. I had no idea that I was going to need my own book. I'm sorry, I just said I Am Resilient was the name of the book. I wrote I Am Resilient after he passed. The book that I wrote before he passed was Shift Happens. And let me tell you, shift happened. And the Lord was preparing me through that book how to endure and how to hold on to his unchanging hand. And I was able to turn my pain into a purpose and continue. I'm at the post office right now mailing my book orders. In between my coaching and counseling sessions on the phone and speaking engagements, I'm at the post office mailing book orders. So today I am mailing Wisdom for Women, and I'm mailing my book, Follow Your Heart, but Take Your Brain With You. That's the book on relationships.